Join Sue Colter for Middle Georgia fun and adventure right here on Cable 19.
Welcome to the show. I'm Sue Colter. Let's take a look at what's coming up.
Where did those lovable characters, Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, and Tar Baby, come from? Our trip to the Uncle Remus Museum in Eatonton will give us this answer and more. If you enjoy delicious food served with a flourish, you'll love being at Natalia's in Macon with Chef Terry White. Dublin's Pieter Vedder recalls his childhood memories of World War II in the Netherlands. We'll have special visitors to Dublin from Dublin.
Stay tuned right here on Dublin's Cable Channel 19 for the Sue Colter Show. We'll be right back.
Ruby Tuesday. Join us for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Entrees to please every palate. Freshest salad bar in town. Kids Menu 2. Ruby Tuesday, 441 South at I-16 in Dublin.
MedFirst. We are first in care, quality, and service. We offer home oxygen, respiratory services, IV therapy services, home medical equipment and supplies, specialty rehab equipment. MedFirst, Hillcrest Parkway.
Oates Drug Company downtown Dublin can fill all your prescription needs with free delivery. Also, UPS shipments and moneygrams, blood sugar tests, beautiful gifts. Oates Drug Company downtown Dublin.
Hi, I'm Billy Rouse, Service Manager at Andrew Chevrolet. We have one of the best service and parts departments in Middle Georgia.
At Frank Andrews Chevrolet, our parts and service department technicians work hard every day to earn and keep your trust. Whether it's a new truck or the family car, the Frank Andrews team will keep you safely on the road. You can count on Frank Andrews Chevrolet.
Come see us at Andrews Chevrolet.
Farmers State Bank, with their 3 locations, offer customers a variety of services like internet banking, check your balance from your home, order checks, along with many other options. Farmers State offers the Golden 50 account and several savings accounts to choose from. Let Farmers State help you with a mortgage loan. In Dublin, visit our Bellevue or Hillcrest locations. Our 3rd location is in Cadwell. Farmers State Bank.
At T-Lake Environmental Design, we work to provide an environment that is a reflection of who you are and who you want to be. Make an appointment for an environmental design consultation. T-Lake Environmental Design, 272-3878.
If you have a telephone line and a computer, all that's missing is your Progressive Tel internet connection. Unlimited access, round-the-clock technical support, and no connection fee. Service is just $17.95 a month. Call Progressive Tel today.
Brer Fox want to hurt Brer Rabbit as bad as he can. So he caught him up by the behind legs and slung him right in the middle of the briar patch. And that was a considerable flutter where Brer Rabbit struck the bushes. And Brer Fox sort of hang around for to see what was going to happen. By and by, he heard somebody call him. He went up the hill, he see Brer Rabbit sitting cross-legged on a chinkapin log, combing the pitch out in his hair with a chip. And then Brer Fox knew that he been swapped off mighty bad. And Brer Rabbit was pleased for to fling back some of his sass, and he hollered out, "Bread and bone in a briar patch, Brer Fox. Bread and 4 little briar bats. And with that, he skip out just as lively as a cricket in the embers.
The Uncle Remus Museum is a log cabin made from 2 original Putnam County slave cabins. The building is similar to the one occupied by Uncle Remus, the lovable character made famous by Joel Chandler Harris. Uncle Remus tells of the people among whom young Joel grew up, of some of the pranks he pulled, of a boyhood in Eatonton, Georgia.
Uncle Remus Museum was opened in 1963 with Mrs. Williford, with the help of a couple of professors out of Emory University. Some of the archives that are in the cases out here came from the Emory University. Other things that are in the museum have been contributed by the people in and around Putnam and other people that have come through the area that have had something pertaining to this area or either to Joel Chandler Harris. Joel Chandler Harris was born in Eatonton. His mother was from around Shady Dale. She was born into a very prominent family, well educated. Joel Chandler was a very shy person. His mother read to him a lot, and he liked reading. When he got of school age, he didn't like to go to school, and they say when he did go, he was pretty much of a cut-up. Everyone around liked him and let him get by with whatever. But one of the things he liked to do instead of being in school was go down to the newspaper and pick up the discarded newspapers and magazines and go through them. He liked reading, but that's all about school he liked.
To help support his family, young Joel answered an ad for work in the local newspaper owned by Mr. Turner.
Mr. Turner received the letter, liked it, came into town to talk to Joel Chandler. He asked him how old he was, and he said he was about 13. Mr. Turner saw potential in him and gave him the job as printer's devil for that little paper. Joel Chandler packed up what little he had and went to the plantation to live. When he finished his chores with Mr. Turner, he would head for George Terrell's slave cabin, which is like this one in here. George Terrell and the other slaves that would be gathered around would tell all these critter stories. Joel Chandler had a memory, and he put those back in his memory.
The Civil War came, and the local newspaper could no longer survive, so Joel Chandler moved to Macon. Joel would find work at the Macon Telegraph. He would find work at other papers as well, and in New Orleans, and then back to Savannah, where he met his wife.
They say that Joel Chandler was so shy and that he would not court her verbally. He won her by writing poetry. The yellow fever epidemic broke out, and he took his family and went to Atlanta to live. And the records show, just show his humorous side, the records show that when he checked into the hotel in Atlanta to go to work for the Constitution, he checked in 2 bow-legged children, a worn-out wife, and a miserable maid. He ended up 20-some-odd years for the Constitution. He had put a few of these little excerpts in the paper in the Constitution about the critters, but he had gotten a little bored with the editorials he was writing. He had related his life on the plantation to a couple of the other editors there, and they encouraged him to put some in writing. He wrote a couple of the stories, sent them to a Lippincott magazine up north, and they just went over real well. And from that, he published his first book, which was published in 1880. There's an old revival hymn in there that I like very much, and one that's old camp song, that the world is wide and the world is round. Lord, remember those children in the morning. It's a mighty long way up the mountainside, and ain't no place for them sinners to hide. So that's one of the camp songs, one of the few verses of one of the camp songs in there.
Joel Chandler's Uncle Remus stories have been published in 27 different languages around the world. One day at his Atlanta home, Joel found a wren's nest in his mailbox. He built a second mailbox so the wrens would not be disturbed. He then named his Atlanta farm the Wren's Nest.
The tar baby is the favorite. Mm-hmm. It's the favorite. All the children come in. Of all races, they know the tar baby.
Yeah. And he fixed up a contraption of what he called a tar baby. And he took this here tar baby and sawed her out in a big roll. And then he lay off in the bushes for to see what the news was going to be. And he didn't have to wait long now, because by and by, here come Brer Rabbit pacing down the road. Lippity, clippity, clippity, lippity. This is sassy as a jaybird. Now, Brer Fox, he lay low. Brer Rabbit come prancing along till he spied a tar baby, and then he fought up on his behind legs like he was astonished. The tar baby, she sat there, she did, and Brer Fox, he lay low. "A morning," says Brer Rabbit, says he. "A nice weather this morning," says he. Well, the tar baby ain't saying nothing. And Brer Fox, he lay low. And Brer Rabbit keep on asking him, and the tar baby, she keep on saying nothing. So presently, Brer Rabbit drove back with his fist, he did, and blip, he took her to the side of the head. And right there's where he broke his molasses jug. His fist stuck, he can't pull loose. The tar helped him. "Turn me loose before I kick the natural stuffing out of you," says Brer Rabbit, says he. And then Brer Fox, he sounded folk looking just as innocent as one of your mammy's mockingbirds. "Howdy, Brer Rabbit," says Brer Fox, says he. "He looks sort of stuck up this morning," says he. And then he rolled on the ground and laughed till he couldn't laugh no more.
What about the movie, Song of the South? My favorite thing, one of my favorite things about that movie is the song Zippity-Doo-Dah, and when the little bluebird lands on Uncle Remus's shoulder.
That was a very good movie, and we regret that we're not able to get it anymore, and perhaps sometime Disney will release the movie. Teddy Roosevelt, who was president at the time, thought he was one of the best historians of the South for that day. In fact, Benny, he wanted to meet Joel Chandler Harris. He was coming through Atlanta, and Joel Chandler Harris would have no part of it. Teddy Roosevelt contacted the head editor and told him to have Joel Chandler Harris at the train station. Well, he had to get escorts to get him down there. And they say when Teddy Roosevelt stepped out on the platform, the escorts looked around, and Joel Chandler Harris was bent over slipping out through the crowd. The escorts got him back to talk to Theodore Roosevelt, who at that time insisted that he come to a state dinner at the White House. Joel Chandler would have no part of it. He finally agreed to go if his son would go along with him and do all the talking. He was a great journalist, a great writer, talked very little, would not talk. He would not read these stories to his children. He would write them. He would not tell them the stories. He would write to them whatever he wanted them to know. Okay, the carvings were carved by Frank Chanel out of Columbus, Georgia, and they represent the different critters that Joel Chandler Harris wrote about in the 185 critter stories. The murals were painted by Wendell Taylor. They depict how the Turnwell Plantation looked during the time of slavery.
When was this done? When were the carvings done?
These were done in 1963 when the museum was open.
Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay,
My, oh my, what a wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine heading my way. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more from the Sue Colter Show.
Finding Middle Georgia's best deal on a loan to purchase or refinance a home begins at Farmers and Merchants Bank. Whether you're considering your first home, looking for a larger one, or improving the home you have, Farmers and Merchants Bank is ready to help. We'll work with you on a personal level, helping you avoid any confusion, uncertainty, or complication. We'll find the right home loan to fit your needs, and we'll do all we can to make it easy. Farmers and Merchants Bank. Competitive rates, easy terms, and fast answers.
At Smith's Exclusive Jewelers, you can please everyone on your Christmas list with beautiful hand-painted china, one-of-a-kind Allie Dennis jewelry, Crabtree and Evelyn gifts and travel sets for men and women. Elegant rings in exquisite settings. Diamonds, pearls. Soft luggage by Vera Bradley. Classic Waterford crystal. All this and more at Smith's Jewelers.
It's time for fall planting, and at Black Seed Store, we have a colorful and wide variety of bedding plants, annuals, and perennials. It's a great time for planting shrubbery, too, and we'll be glad to help landscape with a design that's right for you. We also carry pool covers and chemicals. Black Seed Store, downtown Dublin.
2003s are en route. Early clearance is now in effect at Butler Ford Mercury. This week, get 0% on Explorer and Taurus. 0% for 60 months. Buy a loaded Expedition, just $29.5. Plus, Ranger regular cabs are just $11,995. Butler knows price sells cars. We'll beat any advertised price or pay your gas back to your Georgia home. It's early clearance at Butler Ford Mercury. Highway 441 North in Milledgeville.
Let freedom ring with Alltel cellular plans. National Freedom and Total Freedom. Get nationwide coverage with no roaming and no long distance. 3,000 off-peak minutes follow you anywhere you travel in the National Freedom coverage area. With Total Freedom, there is absolutely no roaming and no long distance to all 50 states. Receive free phone and free activation with each plan. Now that's freedom. Visit Alltel today in the Alltel Shopping Center, Veterans Boulevard, Dublin. Builders Concrete Products. Load them up and head them out. At Builders Concrete, we offer all type concrete block and brick and will deliver to residential or commercial location. We'll be glad to help you choose from our wide selection of brick styles. Now in stock year-round, patio stones, lawn edgers, fireplace products, masonry tools, and so much more. Builders Concrete Products, locally owned and operated since 1945.
Fairview Fitness Park offers basketball, racquetball, free weights, and the latest strength training equipment. We have cross trainers, treadmills, rowing machines, and an indoor pool. Free babysitting is available for your convenience. Members receive a complete evaluation and personalized fitness plan. Call 274-3990 or visit Fairview Fitness Park.
We're in it for life.
Natalia's restaurant in Macon was opened in 1984. The creation of a lovely Italian lady, Natalia Del Basso Orsini. Menus signed by celebrities line the walls at Natalia's. They have been drawn here by Natalia's exquisite fine dining and her wonderful personality. And the restaurant's been here since 1984. Was this a lifelong dream of yours?
Yes, definitely was. I came to America in 1974. And
where from?
From Italy, from a small town called Sulmona. And it's just, one of those little towns. I came to America, married, had a child, a divorce, and what are you going to do when you don't know what to do? You go back to work and started waitressing in a French restaurant. And about 6 years later, I was able to open this restaurant, with the help of a good friend that was the president of a bank.
Mm-hmm. So. And naturally, it's an Italian restaurant.
Yes, it's an Italian restaurant, but with more of a twist. We don't, for a long time, we were the only restaurant in Macon, Georgia that it was offering different things. So I wanted to just not make it just Italian, I wanted to make it things that I like to eat. Mm-hmm. And this is why we have sushi tuna, because I love raw fish. It's not an Italian dish, but we cook other things beside it. My menu is strictly an Italian menu, but with an American way of doing things. And then every time I go home, it's funny, anytime I go home, I bring some recipes back, something new that I might have tasted, and I get excited, and then people love it. And they say, oh, I can tell you've been back to Italy because I taste something different on your menu.
Chef Terry White here at Natalia's. How long have you been the head chef at Natalia's?
I've been here for 15 years, working on my 16th.
15 years. What is it that influenced you to get into the cooking business? Was it one defining moment, or?
No, I just kind of fell into it. I worked for a Japanese restaurant for a while and enjoyed that and just loved what I was doing, and I stuck with it.
Just kind of taught yourself?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to add a little oil. And this is a dish you can find all the ingredients at your local grocery store. This is a blackened seasoning. We mix our own here, but you can find it at the grocery store.
Okay, and you always use olive oil to
we use a blended oil. Of course, we're an Italian restaurant, so yes, most everything is olive oil. We're going to start off with some onions. 2 tablespoons, maybe. Some shrimp. And we're just going to dip them in the blackened spice, just one side.
And just one side that you're putting in?
Yeah, because that's spicy, so...
So you don't want to overdo it?
Right. You want them to be a little transparent in the middle. You don't want it to be all white. The more you cook it, the tougher it's going to get. So we don't want to.
Terry deglazes the pan with a little white wine. The alcohol cooks out and leaves the flavor of the grapes.
Add a little tomato sauce. And you can use whatever you like. Your own choice, your own brand. We make our own.
Would you put butter in this too, with the olive oil?
You could. It'll make it a little richer. Yes.
Do you think, you're putting chives or
parsley?
Parsley.
The New Orleans shrimp is finished and put on top of prepared rice. There is nothing left to do now except give it the taste test.
Just too spicy?
No, not too spicy. So good. What's your favorite dish here at Natalia's?
Ooh, there is one particular one that that I do, actually, that the people in the kitchen laugh. It's called calamari stew with peas that I just adore. It's not on my menu, but we make it as a special. And it's one of those dishes that either people love or people just don't love because it's very, very Italian. That's one of my favorite. Of course, you know, the great dishes are the from New Orleans that I think he showed you.
Yes, and it is delicious.
You have one of the best calamari here. The people come always tell me how wonderful my calamari are, even though every other restaurant has calamari. But we use this one particular that they're just babies, and they're just, to me, they fry them a lot more tender than others. And then we do it in the Italian way, which is very light flour, and then as soon as they come out, lemon juice and salt. And that's it, and you serve them, and they're great.
Terry, tell me about your staff in the kitchen.
Oh, they're great. Most of us have worked together for a long time. Ed and I have been together for like 12, 14 years now. I'm not really sure how long, but somewhere in that area. Terry Richardson and I have been together for 8 or 9. But most of us have worked together for a while.
It was time for dessert. Terry would now prepare a sweet Natalia special.
How to make the nougat shell. It's an almond nut basket. You can use any nut that you like. We prefer the almonds. You can use macadamias, pecans, whatever. It doesn't matter. We're going to start with the butter and the sugar. We're going to cream them together. Now we're going to add all the other ingredients. I'll start with the almonds. And that was 1 cup of almonds, 3/4 cup of sugar, 1½ tablespoons of light corn syrup, 2 tablespoons of milk, 3 ounces of butter, and 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour.
Okay.
And I'm adding the milk last.
And you don't care how you add everything?
No,
the
it doesn't.
Should be last.
The butter and the sugar definitely first, and the milk last. As far as the other ingredients, you just throw them all in there together.
Okay. So you would put it in the refrigerator for how long?
Just until a couple of hours, till it chills all the way through.
Okay.
And we want to put it on a parchment-lined baking sheet. And you want to flatten it down a little bit. And then pop it in the oven 300 degrees for 12 to 14 minutes. You might want to keep an eye on it. Set the timer for 12, and if it needs more time.
When you're at home, you said you like lamb. Would you ever dare do anything like hamburgers and hot dogs?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a normal person. Just because I cook fine dining food doesn't mean I don't eat a hamburger or a hot dog.
Okay.
So that's just pliable. So I'm just going to lay it over the cup that I've got here. Down with my hand. 3 or 4 minutes, it'll be cool enough to flip it over and fill it with your favorite ice cream, mousse, sorbet, fresh fruit, whatever you like.
The finished product looked breathtaking. A dessert like this alone would be worth the trip to Natalia's. I've never been happier to be a taste tester.
Do you see yourself doing this right on and on and on?
No. I have to tell the truth. I'm a truthful person. No, I don't want to do this over. I think I want to do a few more years. This is very time, you know, and I think I want to stay fresh. But I do want to do something else. Maybe I want to get old doing something else. You know, I can do it for maybe another 5, maybe 6 years. But that's all I want to do. And then one day, maybe I'll go back to Italy.
We'll be back.
I hope so.
Okay. Thank you.
Can't wait.
And my dad took his arm around us and said, "We are the happiest family in the world. We are all alive."
Oates Drug Company downtown Dublin can fill all your prescription needs with free delivery. Also, UPS shipments and MoneyGrams, blood sugar tests, beautiful gifts. Oates Drug Company downtown Dublin.
Hi, I'm Billy Rouse, service manager at Andrews Chevrolet. We have one of the best service and parts departments in Middle Georgia.
At Frank Andrews Chevrolet, our parts and service department technicians work hard every day to earn and keep your trust. Whether it's a new truck or the family car, the Frank Andrews team will keep you safely on the road. You can count on Frank Andrews Chevrolet.
Come see us at Andrews Chevrolet.
Ruby Tuesday. Join us for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Entrees to please every palate. Freshest salad bar in town. Kids Menu 2. Ruby Tuesday, 441 South at I-16 in Dublin.
If you have a telephone line and a computer, all that's missing is your Progressive Tel internet connection. Unlimited access, round-the-clock technical support, and no connection fee. Service is just $17.95 a month. Call Progressive Tel today.
Farmers State Bank, with their 3 locations, offer customers a variety of services like internet banking, check your balance from your home, order checks, along with many other options. Farmers State offers the Golden 50 account and several savings accounts to choose from. Let Farmers State help you with a mortgage loan. In Dublin, visit our Bellevue or Hillcrest locations. Our 3rd location is in Cadwell. Farmers State Bank.
Fitness plan. Call 274-3990 or visit Fairview Fitness Park.
We're in it for life.
At T-Lake Environmental Design, we work to provide an environment that is a reflection of who you are and who you want to be. Make an appointment for an environmental design consultation. T-Lake Environmental Design, 272-3878.
In 1983, the Campbell mushroom plant brought Pieter and Mariet Vedder to Dublin, a world away from their home in the Netherlands. As a young boy, Pieter and his family survived the Nazi occupation of their homeland during World War II. This is Pieter's story.
Oh, you know, the Netherlands is a small country, and we have a long border with Germany. We depended business-wise for a big part on the German economy. And Hitler always had, at that time, the idea that it should be one Europe, and the Netherlands should be part of it, whether we like it or not.
And you spoke German as well as
Oh, yeah,
Dutch.
we lived and grew, as you know, that close to the German border. And even nowadays, most people in that area, they watch as much TV from the German as from the Dutch side. So for us, it is and was very easy to have contact, even with the German soldiers. You have to realize, we hated the system. But those soldiers, most times were boys forced into the army, and not every German soldier at that time believed in Hitler's philosophy as well. No?
When did you first sense that y'all were in danger?
Not so much in danger. You see, as a young boy, for us, it was May 10, 1940, that early morning, we suddenly hear the noise of airplanes flying over very low, and of course, for a young boy, that's something, huh? But not realizing actually that we were in war. Then later on, you hear all the stories that people lost a son during... We only made it 5 days because the Germans started bombing one of the main cities, Rotterdam, flattened that. And, okay, we were not prepared to fight such a modern army. The first couple of years, we didn't suffer that much. Gradually, things become scarce. Food was on coupons for that. And, of course, the Germans took most of the materials, the food, and so on away because they need that for their army. So it turned actually bad, first of all, in the cities, the bigger cities, in 43, 44. For us, living that close to the River Rhine, it became actually worse at the end of 1944, September, October. That was when the Allied troops were on the other side of the River Rhine, and we lived on the Dutch side.
By the Allied troops, you mean the Americans,
Americans,
and the
Canadians, British, whatever. And so then there was the fight between the artillery over the River Rhine from the Germans who were with us. And so it became really dangerous because almost every day, especially in the evening, we got a full load from your guys. And so everybody in that area, first of all, people living closer to the river have to evacuate. And in our house, we had a family taken, actually because they were befriended with my parents. And so they lived in our house, and later on we come back to that, a family with a number of children, grown children. And everybody had to build his own bunker to survive, and we had two of them, my dad and his brother-in-law who lived opposite the street. They built that with all what you could find, wooden parts, concrete, and so on, so that you could survive, and especially, as I told you, in the evening. And I remember we lived for actually months in that bunker. As I told you, at the end, you couldn't buy food anymore. But we were lucky. We never have been hungry. People in the city really had a bad time. But because the Germans took away all the food what they could. They need that for their army at that time, fighting in Russia and all over the place. So, but we were lucky. We lived in a rural area, and there were farms around. We have our own vegetables, and another neighbor had potatoes, and so we lived. And what we did is the people who had to move closer to the river, like the family living with us, they couldn't take their cattle with them. I mean, what can you do? You cannot move cattle to. So those cows were still walking around, and if you had the guts, and we had, and say, that's our cow, that one. And the Germans maybe believed you, at least we took the cow, and I remember that in the middle of the greenhouses full of tomatoes, my dad and his neighbors made an open spot and killed the cow, and so that's how we, okay, survived. But coming back to that story, we also have to pick up some milk. We had, I remember, we had a blue 6-liter, 1.5-gallon can, blue animal, and you have to go to a farm over there to pick up some milk. Was forbidden because, again, the farmer had to deliver that milk to the Germans.
Now, had the Germans occupied your area?
Oh, yeah, of course.
At that time?
You couldn't move a foot without permission.
German soldiers everywhere.
Oh, yeah. And law this, law that. You could not go on the street because in the evening after 8 o'clock you could not have light. You have to darken the windows because that was a guide for the airplane and so on. Oh. So, my brother, it was his turn to pick up milk at that farm, and the 2 boys from the family who lived with us joined him. And they were gone for maybe half an hour, and then a very, very aggressive fight in the air started between hurricane planes, American, British, and German Messerschmitt, yeah. You call it dogfighting, yeah? And oh, we enjoyed that as a young fellow. We lay on our back in the ditch and see the one after the other, and with a terrible noise, say, yeah, bang, and that was another one. We almost applauded that. I mean, yeah, especially, of course, if that plane was a German one. It was maybe 20 or more planes were involved. It was a spectacle. There were 3 planes, 2 Germans and a Elliott plane, shot down on 1 hectare, 2 acres. And that was in between the place where we live and the farm where we should pick up the milk, my brother and the Germans were very upset because they shot down a number of German planes, and those German soldiers, the SS, which are the worst, and what was even worse, they most were drunk, shouted to the people nosy to what's going on, like my brother and the 2 boys, of course.
To go see the planes.
Oh, see the planes, yeah. And the Germans shouted, go away here. Raus. So they drove all those people back to the street. But my brother and the 2 friends, they have to pick up the milk, so they wouldn't go to the street, but into the fields to go to that farm. Now, we don't know exactly what happened, but at least my brother survived, so he could tell his part. They went through the ditch to go to that farm, and at the end of the ditch, a German, as I said, drunk SS, picked the youngest of the 2 friends, Jan, he was at that time 18, ordered him to dig a hole, sit on his knees, and shot him. And then the older brother had to put some dirt over it and sit on his knees and got shot.
And your brother saw that?
And my brother didn't see it. He heard, of course, something, but he escaped because he took another ditch But there was a farmer living in that area who have seen the scenery. And so when I saw at a certain moment, I was playing around and came home and I saw the mother of those two boys crying, and I saw the police and the priest and my mom crying, and so we didn't know where my brother was. He was complete. Later on they found him, and we even had a hard time, the family had a hard time to get the bodies from the Germans. They had to go through what they call the Ortskommandant and begging that at least he released the body. Another thing what you never forget, I told you it was at a certain moment it was too dangerous. We couldn't live there anymore, so the Red Cross came and said you had to move. So you left everything behind, and we had to move to another area in the country, and a farm family, as I said, my second brother and I lived in one farm, and my parents and the older brother another farm. They took care of us as good as they could. We are Roman Catholics, they were not. So at Christmas, they said, you have to go to Mass. They knew that. Okay. But as I told you, you were not allowed to go over the street. So we had to go through night Mass, through the fields, to a small village. That area was a Protestant area, and there was only a small Catholic church in another village. So my brother and I went through the fields, went to church, Christmas 1944. Peace on earth. We came after Mass, in the dark, of course, in the middle of the night, came from that little village, through the fields, back to the farm where we lived. And there was something burning over there. That area, a little bit hilly, so behind the hill there was something burning. And of course, being 15 years old and my brother 17, let's have a look. More than likely an airplane shot down. Well, we walked up to that area, and then, so more or less dark, a little bit light from that burning plane. Walk up to the barbed wire, and there was a human arm hanging in the barbed wire. I still see that picture. I mean, you come out of Mass, Christmas, peace on earth. Whether it was a German or an American pilot, that doesn't matter. I mean, but there is a man, a family behind that arm.
Yeah.
I mean,
somebody's lost.
So then you go home, coming from night Mass, and say, peace on earth. Huh? And I remember that after the war, we got liberated in April 45, half a year later. And so when we came back, believe me, Sue, that has so much impact. And you talk about Americans not always realizing the freedom we have and the price we paid. Can you imagine when we came back from the place where we lived as evacuees, we came back home, the greenhouses flattened, the house destroyed. That night, my dad and my second brother and I, because my mom and the oldest brother lived at another family, we came home, and that night we slept in an old carpet. That's what we found, and And that morning, I remember in April 45, the sun was shining, and my dad took his arm around us and said, we are the happiest family in the world. We are all alive. Can you imagine he worked, his tail off to build up a business, greenhouses and so on. And then happy, lucky because
you are alive.
You are alive and free. And yeah.
Would you say that because of the experience, the very dramatic experiences that you've had during that time, during those war years, when you were so young and impressionable, that that's given you something inside of yourself to realize how fortunate you are and how much you do appreciate freedom?
Mariet's father got hurt during the war in his neck, shrapnel. Mariet's father, one of Mariet's best friends, was a German girl. And Mariet at a certain moment said, "Dad, next weekend, Marlene, her friend from Germany, will come." You know what Mariet's father said? "Under my roof, no German."
Well, during that time, I guess it was just...
That was after the war.
Oh, that was after the war?
But then he met the family. Mariet insisted, and okay, finally he gave in. Then he figured out that the family of that girl suffered
just as much
or even more.
But it's given you a real appreciation.
So, and every opportunity we have to tell American kids or whoever, you better appreciate your freedom. Don't you are spoiled and don't realize always. But our generation, we don't understand why Europeans at this particular moment are anti-America. We don't understand. The reason is they don't know. Especially the younger generations, they didn't know, and they don't care, and okay. And also young Americans, what do they know about history, even if it is not that long ago?
It's not that long ago, and that's why we need people like you who have lived it to tell us, so we can learn from it.
Yeah, hopefully.
Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome.
At Smith's Exclusive Jewelers, you can please everyone on your Christmas list with beautiful hand-painted china, one-of-a-kind Alley Dennis jewelry, Crabtree and Evelyn gifts and travel sets for men and women, elegant rings in exquisite settings, diamonds, pearls, soft luggage by Vera Bradley, classic Waterford crystal. All this and more at Smith's Jewelers.
It's time for fall planting, and at Black Seed Store, we have a colorful and wide variety of bedding plants, annuals, and perennials. It's a great time for planting shrubbery, too, and we'll be glad to help landscape with a design that's right for you. We also carry pool covers and chemicals. Black Seed Store, downtown Dublin.
Finding Middle Georgia's best deal on a loan to purchase or refinance a home begins at Farmers and Merchants Bank. Whether you're considering your first home, looking for a larger one, or improving the home you have, Farmers and Merchants Bank is ready to help. We'll work with you on a personal level, helping you avoid any confusion, uncertainty, or complication. We'll find the right home loan to fit your needs, and we'll do all we can to make it easy. Farmers and Merchants Bank. Competitive rates, easy terms, and fast answers.
MedFirst. We are first in care, quality, and service. We offer home oxygen, respiratory services, IV therapy services, home medical equipment and supplies, specialty rehab equipment. MedFirst, Hillcrest Parkway. Builders Concrete Products. Load them up and head them out. At Builders Concrete, we offer all type concrete block and brick and will deliver to residential or commercial location. We'll be glad to help you choose from our wide selection of brick styles. Now in stock year-round, patio stones, lawn edgers, fireplace products, masonry tools, and so much more. Builders Concrete Products, locally owned and operated since 1945.
2003s are en route. Early clearance is now in effect at Butler Honda. This week, get remaining 02 Civic DX model with full factory equipment. Just $13,995. $13,995. 02 Accords with automatic are just $14,995. $14,995. Butler knows price sells cars. We'll beat any advertised price or pay your gas back to your Georgia home. It's early clearance at Butler Honda, Highway 441 North in Milledgeville.
Let freedom ring with Alltel cellular plans. National Freedom and Total Freedom. Get nationwide coverage with no roaming and no long distance. 3,000 off-peak minutes follow you anywhere you travel in the National Freedom coverage area. With Total Freedom, there is absolutely no roaming and no long distance to all 50 states. Receive free phone and free activation with each plan. Now that's freedom. Visit Alltel today in the Alltel Shopping Center, Veterans Boulevard, Dublin. We're always excited to have visitors in our community, Dublin, Georgia. But we're especially excited when we have people to come here from Dublin, Ireland. We have a traveling trio, and they ended up in Dublin at the Dublin Lawrence Museum. Is this the first time you've ever been? I would have to say it would have to be the first time you've been to Dublin, Georgia.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. So what brought you here?
Well, we were traveling here on the way to Atlanta, and we saw it on the map and thought, cool place to go to.
Mm-hmm. Is this the first time in the United States?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, for him.
Well, for me, yeah.
I've been here. I've spent the last 5 summers working at a summer camp in Vermont, so.
Oh, okay.
And I've been. I was in New York and Boston there 3 years ago.
Okay. But you grew up in Dublin, Ireland, and you obviously knew each other growing up, I guess.
Yeah, we were in school together from the age of 4 to 17, 18. So.
Okay, neat. So this is your vacation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about Dublin, Georgia?
Oh, it's pretty cool. It's a really pretty town. It's really nice. We drove around it a bit and we had our lunch here and stuff, and people are really friendly, so yeah, it's very, very nice. We're so glad we stopped.
Mm-hmm. Do y'all realize how we carry on here during St. Patrick's? Have you heard?
Oh, yeah. Big festival, month long.
Uh-huh. So. Big festival, month long. What about in Ireland?
Yeah, it's sort of more like a week long.
Uh-huh.
But it's pretty big. They do a lot of sort of things. The government organize like huge fireworks displays, and they have street performers and all sorts of things.
We have American bands coming over from New York and things like that, and Boston, just playing on, walking along in the parade sometimes as well. So we have a lot of Americans coming over.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Well, we hope y'all will come back. I wish you would come back during our St. Patrick's Festival, because you'd get quite a kick out of that. All right? Y'all are traveling, I guess. You rented a car?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. All right. Well, be careful. Okay. Erin, go bra. Thank you for watching this edition of the Sue Colter Show on Dublin's Cable Channel 19, Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. We've all come to love and enjoy the Gil Gillis Christmas specials the last several years. We have good news. Right here exclusively on Dublin's Cable Channel 19, we will be featuring Gil's Christmas specials, all the ones past and the one that he's working on for December 2002. You can catch that all the month of December, 7 nights a week, from 8 until 11 p.m. You can still catch the Sue Colter Show, and we'll be featuring Gil's Christmas specials as well. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Join Sue Colter for Middle Georgia fun and adventure right here on Cable 19.